Hello and welcome, I'm your Code Monkey. The asset store is full of awesome tools and assets to help you make your own games. There's more and more awesome stuff coming out every month, so in this video let's check out some highlights for August 23. This one is a list of paid systems and tools. In the last video I already covered the best free new assets, and next one I'll cover top visuals and effects. As always, there's links to the assets in the description, and as a bonus you can use the coupon CodeMonkey10 to get 10% off your order. And the Dev Days of Summer sale is still live. There's still a bunch of excellent assets on sale. And over on Humble, if you need some realistic visuals, there's a bundle with a huge discount. This is a huge pack with a bunch of animations, a bunch of monsters, regular animals. You've got some wizard spells, some fire, some horses, some lava, explosion, GUI, and so on. All with a really nice realistic style, and all for a really great discount. Check them out with a link in the description. Alright, so starting off with a really nice 2D water system. There are actually tons of water systems on the store, but they are usually in 3D, so it's great to see a 2D one, and this one does look excellent. The water has some really nice reflections, some really nice waves and refraction. It can include some blur with fall off, it works on infinite scrolling, it's even got some really interesting dynamic waves. So this looks really great, and it works either on a full side view kind of like a platformer, or a more of a top-down view. If you have a 2D game, then adding some gorgeous water like this one will really help you stand out. Next, adding primitive colliders on top of objects is one task that is really tricky, so here's the tool to help you do that. In case you don't know, using primitive colliders is so much more performant than using mesh colliders, so you should always use primitives whenever possible. With a tool like this one, it makes it really easy to use to build all of your colliders on any object. There's no need to manually add a new box collider every time and then painfully position it manually. You just hold a button, drag a widget, and it automatically spawns a brand new one. It also snaps to position, so it makes it really easy to position. It easily duplicates. You can even play around with the visual for the bounds and the handles. So this looks like a very useful tool if you need to quickly build tons of custom colliders. Then here's a fun, interesting one. It's called Better Transform. Apparently this one replaces the default transform with a custom transform inspector that adds a bunch more options. You can easily toggle between local space and world space. You can modify the actual object size without fiddling with the scale. You can modify it in metric or imperial or anything you want. You can also visualize the child and parent info and even see some extra stats on the scene view. So it's pretty interesting to see the transform component, which is very much the core of Unity, seeing that one be expanded in such an interesting use case. Next, here's an interesting sound tool. One of the best ways to make your game sound great is just to have some interactive sound, meaning make it sound different depending on what surface the player is walking on. If it's on grass, play a grassy sound. If it's on metal, play a metallic sound. Or another way to really polish your sound is just play some environment sounds. This tool helps you set all of that up in a really interesting way. Basically, it takes a screenshot of your world, then you draw on top of it to define the sound areas. Just draw the shape in any image program. It also supports fading, so you fade from white to black, and as you move away, for example, the river volume goes lower and lower. Definitely a very interesting tool, and by being based on images, it can become super detailed. Then, if you're working with 2D sprite animations, this tool might help. It basically takes a giant sprite sheet of all of your animation frames, and then you can slice blocks of animations from each of those frames. Importantly, the animations don't need to be perfectly sequential, so you can have something like, for example, a flashing animation in a corner, which you can then reuse in multiple animations. The whole thing is stored in what they call a block sheet, which you can then reuse with multiple sprite sheets to essentially share animations between characters. This looks like quite a useful 2D sprite animation tool. With something like this, you don't need to generate tons of individual sprite sheet images. Then if your game has something with legs, here is a legs animator. Really the perfect name. This one is an IK tool. As the character moves around, it automatically places the feet on the correct positions. So as you go up or down stairs, up or down slopes, everything is placed perfectly. This is one of those things that seems really small, but makes a huge difference in the final game. Everything looks so much more natural. Building this kind of thing yourself can definitely be done, but it's usually quite tricky, so an easy to use tool like this one can be very helpful. And this one does look like it has a really easy setup. You just add a component, define the legs, and everything just works. Although of course you also have tons of options to get it working exactly as you want. It works on everything from regular bipedal humanoids to some insects with dozen legs. Adding dynamic animations always helps make your game feel much more polished, and if you like dynamic animations, then check out the other assets by this same developer. They're all really great. Next, here's a really special one all about aerodynamics. This one lets you create some fluid zones, which you can then interact with all kinds of aerodynamic objects. So for example, as you apply some wind, it correctly applies those forces to a plane or a turbine. Now I'm no physicist, but this seems to be quite realistic. The way the demo with the helicopter and the wind generator works looks very physically accurate. It's got some really interesting visualization tools. Just looking at those makes it seem like it would be super fun to play with. You can simulate all kinds of wind forces and vectors. You can visualize the flow around the wing or turbulence behind a spinning ball. If the numbers are indeed accurate, then this could also be a fun way to learn about physics. Then something that every game must have is settings, but building those yourself is always really annoying. Personally, I really do not enjoy that task, especially if you want to build something that is robust with tons of settings. So in that case, a tool like this one really helps. All of these settings are already fully pre-made, all of these sliders for volume, changing resolution, changing full screen or VSync, modifying anti-aliasing, texture resolution, shadows, post-processing. This one really does seem to include all of the settings that you could possibly want. Honestly, I think I might actually pick this one up for my upcoming Steam game. It would definitely save me dozens of hours of building all of this by myself. Next, for another system that you could spend the time to build yourself, or you can just pick up something very robust, here is a really nice versatile inventory system. It includes all the possible inventory actions you could ever need. You can pick up objects or drop them, you can stack them and split multiple stacks, you can even have equipment slots, you can handle durability, you can consume or use items. The inventory has positioning, so you can shift them around in the inventory. You can activate them through a hotbar. This tool also comes with a custom inspector to make it really easy to create and set up any item you want. So this one does look like a really great tool if you don't want to build your own inventory from scratch. Then if you'd like to add vegetation to your worlds, check out this one. It's a tool to help you spawn trees and grass. It also lets you add it not just to the terrain, but on top of objects as well. It claims to be extremely performant, which is very important. Adding tons of vegetation can very easily tank the frame rate. This one includes an example scene with 10 stylized vegetation models, all of them ready to be used. Alright, so those are my top 10 new tools and systems on the Unity Asset Store for August 23. There's links to all in the description, and as a bonus you can use the coupon code Monkey10 to get 10% off your order. Also check out my own free and paid assets on the store. Alright, hope that's useful. Check out these videos to learn some more. Thanks to these awesome Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.